Hi and welcome to Business Bites. We're here at the Cornwall Channel. We have our wonderful Faye Edwards with us today. Hi Faye.
Hello.
Lovely to have you with us. So Faye's joined us today on Business Bites. Faye actually booked this morning at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I did. I saw Shane's post about it, and you know when something just sits right, it lands well, and you think, I'm going to go there.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Taking action. Looks good, feel good. Did it.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Love that. So here on our Business Bites Day today, we've been focusing on personal branding. So we had a great workshop this morning on communication and personal awareness. Great buzz around the room with everyone. And the business owners we had there all sharing sharing what they've been up to, sharing what's happening in their business, and really understanding some key areas around communication, which was really, really interesting. So we then had lunch, which was wonderful. And we're now in the podcast studio. And after this, you're going to be doing a headshot. And you've also got a video that you're going to be doing with Shane as well, which is fantastic.
I know, that is my comfort zone. I'm like, bring it on. I love photos and videos and talking. So yeah, very excited.
Love that. And there's been some that have been really excited, as you can see there, Faye's really excited, and some a bit nervous about it. But Shane's great, and I'm here to calm the nerves and help people through opening up and sharing what they do and why they do what they do. So we're going to speak to Faye and find out, Faye, what do you do? Why do you do it? And what amazing shares can you share with us today?
So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you. I am a property developer and investor, and I'm also a positive psychology coach. And what my driver was for being here today was, how do those two things work together? And not only that, how do I convey that as part of a brand? I'm massively into social media visibility. I love talking and making podcasts and connecting with people. I'm doing lives and masterclasses all the time. I'm aware that I am visible to a certain extent on social media, but I'm not entirely sure how my audience see it, like what it actually comes across as. Because a lot of the time I am talking about my positive psychology coaching clients. A lot of them come from the property world because that's where I hang out online. But a lot of them don't. And I work with a lot of people from a business perspective, but also some people from a purely personal perspective. And so for me, it's about kind of marrying those things together and understanding what I put out there in terms of how to work with me, why to work with me, and also how I ended up where I am and what my drivers are personally.
Yeah, and that's fascinating. I mean, I can see how you can interlink both of them, and I can imagine it's working with people within property and then getting to know them and understand them, and then all of a sudden leaning into that positive coaching that you do as well. Must be a great connection piece. But as you say, sharing it out there and how many hats you wear and helping others lean into, I really like Faye. Like, she seems really approachable, sounds really approachable, but and I guess it's breaking down that piece, isn't it? To then allow them to lean in and go, here I am, this is what we can do, and this is how we can work together.
Exactly. And in positive psychology, we break life down into 6 pillars. And my zone of genius, as we call it in PosPsych, is accomplishment. And that's because the two things go hand in hand. So positive psychology is known as the science of well-being. And the reason I started studying that was because I had some really, really difficult times in my life, and I didn't know who I was on the inside. And I realized that everything I was actually reliant on external factors. My external situation, the amount of things that I owned, the amount of money and wealth that I had, as opposed to this solid interior that kept everything together. So when I had these difficult times, it felt like everything was falling apart. I reached out in every direction that I could. I became a meditation leader, a sound therapist. I started studying, all of the modalities that I could get hold of. And what I didn't realize was I was creating my own toolkit for well-being. Then I came across positive psychology and went, oh my gosh, what I was doing is a thing. I haven't made this up. And the brilliant thing is, positive psychology is a science. Psychology is a science. So everything that we work with is scientifically proven. The data is there. You know, there are huge university teams throughout the world creating the exercises and interventions. So that's why it was working for me. What I then provided for myself was this solid framework within which I could create my own success. And when I did that, then my well-being went through the roof, because it was based on something that I knew was a real solid foundation. And I think that was when everything shifted for me. And, you know, I am a positive person, but I haven't always been. And people think that other people wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock and bounce out of bed with a smile and, you know, embrace the day.
Everything's amazing.
Yeah,
Everything's sunshine and flowers.
For the very, very tiny few, that might be the case. For most of us, for me, getting out of bed, for example, I read a book by Mel Robbins called The 5-Second Rule. You go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. By the time I'm at 1, my feet are on the floor and I'm up. And on the odd occasions that I haven't done that, I struggle in the same way that everybody else does. And that applies to all of these tools. But knowing that there was this scientific basis to the things that I was working through gave it real validity and gave me credibility. And that was when I started studying with the Positive Psychology Coaching Academy, which is run by Nick Pigeon, based in LA. And I was like, yeah, I found my happy place.
And so, she's incredible, isn't she?
Oh, she's my gem.
Bountiful. She's exuberant, but she's also quite honest with what she goes through and where she's been and how she's done what she's done.
Her journey was prompted by her own suicide attempts in her teens.
Yeah.
You know, there is nothing more real than that. And I think we should all be more open as well and talking about the ups and downs of life and saying, you know, I felt suicidal, I felt at the bottom, because what a lot of the people I work with don't realise is that you can be two things at the same time. You can be okay and not okay. You can be ambitious and terrified. You can be, you know, wild and calm all at the same time. But people are afraid of acknowledging sometimes the darkest days because they think it invalidates their success, or you can't be these two opposing things at the same time.
And the comparison there of others, the assumption of others, social media is a great example of everything's always wonderful, everything's filtered, everything's exciting. And that can be challenging. And as you say, it can lead to not being open about those things actually, quite frankly, most people are going through.
Yeah.
And when you start to become quite authentic and real with that, I think that's quite endearing and connecting for people, isn't it? When you really show up.
There's nothing like knowing that you're not alone. Nothing, whether you're going through mental health issues, whether it's something to do with, you know, we've talked about today about ADHD, about being on the spectrum, to read other people's experiences, and it almost feels like you're reading your own. That's so validating. And so when I knew that positive psychology worked because of the scientific basis, I then went, oh, I have to share this. And I think, you know, as a coach, you'll understand this. Most people become coaches because of our own journeys and then going, oh, I want to help other people feel like this too. And I shared the stat with you earlier that there's 0.1% of people in the UK do any kind of personal development. And, you know, working with people like Nick, and she's brilliant in that she talks about money, she talks about wealth. And Nick's evaluation, I was presenting at an event with her 2 weeks ago, and the main basis was there are 3 sides to wealth. One is relationships, one is, you know, how your health, your physical health, and the other is your finances. And when you have relationships, colleagues, friends, family, and that's going great, you have your physical health, then that's when the wealth enables you to create a different life. But without the health and the relationships, there is absolutely nothing to wealth in itself.
The challenge is there without that piece in place.
And quite a lot of people who approach me to be coached on their property journey, when I say to them, what's their why? Either they say their children, which is very sweet and lovely. It can never, ever be your why, because they are separate human beings who need to see you as an individual and not just existing for them. And the second one is, I want some money. And when people don't know what they want the money for, they're not driven. So if they can actually articulate, I'd love to be mortgage free and to live with a view of the mountains. I'd love to have a paddock for my pony. I'd love to take my parents on holiday twice a year. You know, when they have very specific ways.
The driver becomes really powerful, doesn't it? The passion and the purpose becomes the driver. So when things become challenging, actually it's rooted in something bigger than themselves and a want and a desire that continuously keeps them going.
And a solid foundation. Yeah. Exactly
Fantastic.
That. Yeah.
Great. I love the abundance and the energy that you exude. It's absolutely fantastic. And clearly just through the excitement there of the positive psychology, I mean, it is in itself abundant, isn't it? And it's great to hear, and I completely agree, these things come from your own journey and where you've been, and there's just this want and desire to just share 0.1% of people doing their own personal development is incredible when you think about you are nobody else, and it all starts with you. Then you can give, which I think is really powerful. So we need to wrap up today. I think we could speak forever.
I was just about to say that.
We really could speak forever, and I think we will. We definitely will do more. Faye, what's the best way for people to get hold of you? What's the best way for them to reach out and get some of this goodness that you share?
So I have an amazing free community called the Positive Living Movement, which is very simply about interweaving positivity into your day-to-day lives. It's absolutely not toxic positivity. I'll make that very clear. But it's just about the easy, simple ways. And that's on Facebook. So it literally is Positive Living Movement. And then I'm in there all the time. So that's the best way for people to find me.
Fantastic. And it's free. You know, why wouldn't you? What would stop you from leaning into that, gaining some of this energy and excitement, and just finding out and looking through a different lens at how life could be happier, more exciting, more positive. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And I look forward to finding out more about what you do and how you do what you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.